Welcome to this tutorial. First, I'll give you a very high-level overview of the program dashboard, and then I'll show you how it works. So we have each project name, obviously. We have the RAG status of the project. We have the financial data and the small charts to show where we're at. Then we have the five RAG status. You don't need to use them all if you don't want to. Then we have the top risk and issues, the high-level view of where we're at with this. And then we have a Gantt chart of the program. So each line, if you like, is the project with a start date, an end date, what has been completed, and what is left to be done. Now you have three ways to use this dashboard. The first way is if you have built the project dashboard that I've done in a previous video. Everything is already there, automated. You don't need to do anything. The data will be imported directly from the tabs to this program dashboard. The second way is bring your own tabs, if you like. If each project tab is built the same way, that will be very easy to replicate. This is done dynamically, so we do it only once, and after the system will do that automatically for each tab. We just need to give the name of the tab. And finally, the last way to use this program dashboard is to input the data manually. We're talking about the program here. We are talking about high-level view. We just need to input some data once, like the project name, for instance, and the initial budget. And then every fortnight, every month, you just need to update it with the latest data, and it will be reported in here automatically. So now we can move on to the building of this program board. Now let's walk you through how this has been built. So I'm not starting from scratch. There are three ways that you can feed data into this program board. The first way is using the project dashboard that I did in the previous video, and I'll just show it to you here. And this will be fed automatically based on the tabs that you have. Like for instance, here I have created 3 projects. The only condition is they all need to be exactly the same. Like for instance here, this one and this one in this one, they are exactly the same. They are exactly in the same position. The cells are all at the same spot. So you create one project and after you can duplicate it. And then the advantage of doing it this way is here you can just have the formula once, and after you drag it down, and dynamically using an Excel formula that will go and pick it up in the respective project tabs. The second way to use this dashboard is to get the data from anywhere else that you want. You have another Excel, you have your own tabs, your own project tabs that you want to put, then it's very easy. You just need to press equal, and you go and get into wherever the data is. If the data, like for my project board, if the data is consistently at the same spot, then you can do the same trick. You can use the Excel function that I will walk you through, and then you can get the data very easily there, and then you can just drag it down, and it will be done for all the tabs. The third way to use this program board is just to input the data directly. Assuming that you don't have that many projects coming your way, it's just a matter of putting the description once, and after every week or every month, I think from my experience, program board, the program updates are less frequent than project updates. So you would have to do that maybe once a month. You go there, you update the actuals, the estimate at completion, please, and then everything. And then I will show you where to input the remainder of the data somewhere on the right. So you can either, as a summary, you can either use my project tabs here. You can bring the data back from wherever it is, but you might have to do it one by one field by one field, or you can input data directly here. Now let's just walk you through this. I think I'm going to start from the very late, from the tricky part, and after it's all going to be downhill, hopefully. Now here I'm inputting a tab name. So we are in a scenario number 1 that you are using my project dashboard here. I put the name of the tab here, so don't worry if you don't like the look of this in your dashboard, then you can remove it later on by creating this group, and then you can hide it. So here I need to put the exact project tab name demonstration. If I put something, a different tab name, it just brings me back Ruby. She's not happy. So it has to be exactly, talking of which, it has to be exactly the project tab name. And here I've done all the work already. So here I'm using the indirect function. The indirect function allows you to dynamically, using this tab name, to go into different tabs and retrieve the same cell. So indirect, and here the tab name is B5, which is this one. And it go and get me the field or the cell B39. Let me just close this. And let's just check what B39 is. B39 is the project description that we have here in this tab here. And by the way, the project description now goes back to this field here, using the B39 as well. So we are making progress. So this is, if you understand this formula here, you'll understand the whole spreadsheet for this scenario number one, where we are inputting data from those tabs. Indirect, the tab name, which you retrieve from here, and then the position of the cell. You do it only once, and after you can drag it down. As long as you have the tab name correct here, it will bring it down. Now here I have a type of a hybrid here. The rest I have input that manually. So here indirect, and here manually. If I want to create a fourth project, I just need to duplicate this one. I just duplicate it, create a copy here. Just call it project 4. Yes, I can put a different color if I want, but I'm not going to do it. Here I input project 4, the name of the tab. And here I just need to bring that copy that formula down, and it's go and get me the third project, because I haven't changed anything yet. I just left everything. So assuming that if you have a 4 project, you would have different data. Just I can demonstrate here. Project 4. And here it go and gets me this. So I need to do the same for everything here. And it will bring me exactly the same data as above, because I haven't changed any of the data. So that's another way to do it. But I'm going to put it back to hard coding, otherwise that might confuse the issue. But now that you know, if you want to add more project, it's just a matter of duplicating this. And here I just put NA, it doesn't come from the tab. And here this is project 4, actually, project 4. And then I can delete this. So just to show you quickly how you can create new tabs, you just a matter after to copy the formula down. So how do you copy the formula down? How do you know which fields? I've put it here at the top. I'm showing you how to do it. So here, for instance, green, it's project tab or input. So here either you go and get that somewhere else, or you input it directly. Okay, so that's for the first one. We have the project description. The second column here, it's a rack status, the overall project rack status. I have it in gray because I don't get that from another tab name. It's just the formatting is based on the row that is on this tab here. So here the later, how I managed to do this round, if you're not aware of this, I'm using the 𝙤𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙨 font, and I'm inserting the character N, which in 𝙤𝙤𝙪𝙧 language is a circle. So if you don't know how to get those, if you want to put something different, for instance, you go to Insert, Symbol, and then you look at the proper font here, and then you retrieve it. Now, what I do is I select all this, and I put it in green. So green would be my default value. This is what we want, right? We want green. Now that we have input the green value, we need to put amber or red based on the rack status. So the rack status is in this field here. The overall project status is in this field. But I didn't want to have to do conditional formatting based on data that is on another tab. So what I have done in this situation is I have created some rows at the end where I replicate the rack status. here I have the overall RAG, and it's an indirect as well using the first tab, which is project 1. And I retrieve the field key K6, which is the overall ember on my thingy here. All these RAG status are either retrieved from the tabs or they are direct input. So if you want to put direct input, you can put them right here. Otherwise, everything is being done with here. So here, the other 5 𝙊𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙚 are the 5 RAG status here: red, green, amber, and red. So that's it, all that dynamically. Now, if I go back to my project, so so it's all on the same row. In order to format this, you go into conditional formatting, you create a new rule. So I've already created it, and you use a formula, and the formula is this field that I have at the end, 85. If it's equal red, then I put this character in red. So we are dealing with characters here, we're not dealing by fields. So here, the format, I just put the font red, because this is considered a font, a circle here. And for amber, you had guessed it, it's the field has to be amber, then I format it with amber. So that is done. Here I have the format from the row. So it is just to highlight the fact that this is from the row. So all this stuff at the top as well. I mean, you can do the usual trick. You go to data, group, and you can hide them if you don't want them. Okay, so moving along. Here I am using the indirect, or you can put it manually. I'm not going to say it every time, but here you have to somehow put the budget plan and the actuals. And here you need to put an estimate at completion. So if you're not used to estimate of completion, I have some videos I explain what it is, but it's more or less you are estimating what the final budget will be on this. By default, it should be the budget that has been planned, but here I put a little bit more. So here for retrieved, and retrieved, those fields are being retrieved. I put a little bit more just to highlight the fact that this will be highlighted in red if it's more than what is planned. So we know that the budget is not right here. And just in case you don't know how it works, for conditional formatting here, you go under the rules and you just apply this rule here. If this you apply a formula, if this field is greater than budget planned, very simple. What you do is you put the background in red. Okay, so we have done those 3 here. Here now we have a chart. I wanted really to show 2 things here. I wanted to show the actuals and on a very high level how the planned was. So I didn't want to have too many numbers, so I just put the numbers onto 1. So let's see how I've done that. And it's the same that when we look at the Gantt chart, it's the same principle. We create a chart, and after we make it fit into these things here. So this is why it's good to have a consistent amount of project, even if those are not being used at the bottom, even if those are void, at least you would have a consistent way to display this, and you would just do it once, and it should all fit in forever. This is why I wanted to give a generous amount of project. I have 12 projects here. So let me just, for instance, this is what you have to do. You need to make sure that the top is exactly where it should be, and then you play around with this, and then you fit it in more or less. So, okay, so this will be close enough. So I have 2 series here on that chart. I have these actuals here, and I have in lighter blue, I have the budget plan. So what you can do is you can select, you don't need the text, you can just select those here, and you go under insert recommended chart that are always Rubish, but in this case, actually, take that back. It's actually one of those you can use. So it is showing you the graph here. So you have the 2 fields, and you just need to make sure that you have the proper color. Here I'm trying to be consistent. When it's deep, it's actually happened, it's actuals. And when it's lighter, it's the difference actually. So here, once you work on this chart, you need to do a couple of things. Let's have a look. So I want to format this chart, format chart area. I want to swap the categories. So here, for instance, I just right click on this. Just need to make sure that I go to axis options, categories in reverse order. So I need to put the categories in reverse order. That's the first thing that you need to do. Because for some reason, Excel will just take the smaller one at the top. We'll take this one at the top and put the top one at the bottom. I'm sure there's a good reason for it. I'm going to have faith in Microsoft with this one. And the second thing to do is you go under select data and you swap the series order. So here I just want to put this one, the series 2 at the top. The reason why I want to do this is I wanted to have the actuals on the top and the budget at the bottom. And after, just a matter of formatting. If you to have them like this, if you want to have them like this, just maybe reducing the gap between those. Your series overlap, you just the gap width, you reduce it using this. I'm not going to do it all again, but if I press enter here, and then you should be able to fill that in. So I'm going to delete it. So this is how I've done it. And I've added the data label on only one here. So I've added the data label. It's just, if you don't know how to do it, just right click and you add, you should have an option here, format data labels. And you do it only on the top one. I think it's best to do it this way. Moving along. So here we have the 5 racks. So we do exactly what we have done here. We go and get we put N all over the place. We put green. I want all that in green to start with. And after, you go under the conditional formatting. It should be easy. You should be able to follow when you copy it across. So here, for instance, if I have AU5, which is actually this is a bit of a mess here. No, that's okay. So if the field AU5, you see I have it completely free. I don't have any dollar. If AU5 is red, then applying all across, it would apply all across this. It would just put the red. And if it's amber, I would put this. So I'm just going to take us back to AU5. AU5 is this field here. This is the first one. And after the conditional formatting should be able to drag all that across. As a reminder, this is either input directly or that comes from the indirect. There is a different meaning for each. I haven't put it back here, but I could. For instance, finance, schedule, all this. Okay. So finance, schedule, issues, risks, and stakeholders. Okay, and at the bottom. Okay, so that's done. Okay, so we've done those. It was telling me that the format is done by the row. So here I have tab or input. So in this case here, I've just put the indirect again, but in the manual ones, I've just put the dates directly into them. So here the starts, I'm going to get the start date and the end date here from here. And here I've just put the date directly. So those are useful for the chart as well. I will be using those to calculate the amount of days and to calculate the length of the chart. Here I'm using a trick from the Sparkline. So the only limitation that I have is I can only show 3 components. But that suits me because I didn't want to put too many of those. It's already cluttered and colorful enough. So that's perfect. And I wanted to stick to green, amber, and red. So what I have done here, I've done Sparkline. So if you don't know Sparklines? You should, because it's such a great tool that is underused in my view. I am creating a Sparkline here, but a Sparkline needs data. So here, if you right-click on the data should be somewhere. Either right-clicking, edit data here. The way you insert a Sparkline is you need a data range, and here that will take the data range from these issues, low, medium, or high, and actually I have them inverted here, but that's okay, I can fix that up later on. It should be risks. So here I have data range 𝙤𝙤𝙧. This is my data range, and I'll put that into this location here. So here what I can do is, if you haven't, you could put an insert Sparkline. Where is it? Insert Sparkline, and you need to select the colon one. It will ask you for the data range, and then you would select those. So when he brings it back, he will bring it back everything from with the same color. And this is where I'm using a hack on the Sparklines. Is the Sparkline lets you play with the colors for the first one and the last one. Okay, the first one, the first point, I'm using this. The first point, I put it in red, because in green, sorry, because I know the first one is less serious, and the last point I'm putting in red. So, and the default value will be the Sparkline color here. It will be amber. Default value amber, first one green, last one red, and this is the way I have designed it here. Okay, so I'm just going to check quickly. So here I have this wrong. Here this is risks, and here this is issues. This is, where is the error? B5, F43. If I'm F43, okay, so that's issues. That's issues. So this is where it's wrong. This should be risks. Okay. Now risks. Now there's one thing about Sparklines is they are great, they look beautiful, but you need to be able to know what is the maximum amount that you want to show. You need to be able to know, okay, anything above 5 risks that with high, is that enough to show, or do you want to have 10? Like for instance here, if I check the Sparkline here, looks like I have a low number, maybe 5-ish. Axis, you're going to axis custom value for the max, and I have put 5 here. Otherwise, they're all going to have a different max, and it's going to be difficult to whoever is reviewing this to know which program has the most values, because they're all going to go at the top for a different value. So here I want to apply a consistent top. So looks like 5 is not enough. Maybe but the downside is if I put 15, for instance, this doesn't read very well. In this instance, I'm going to be happy with this. Everything above 10 is okay. So I can put maybe 10 here as a Sparkline axis custom value. The maximum I will put 10. 10 is enough to know that we have a problem with this. And here I'll do the same, 10. Okay. Now, if we move to this one, so this one is also reported. So this is the way I have done that, and it's something that when I did this project dashboard, it's you will have your own way to calculate where you are at in the project process. I have done a brutal here, initiation, planning, execution, closing, and I do an average of this, which should be the reality, because closing takes less time and is probably less critical. So you would have your own process here, and you would put the percentage completion here. But it's good to have a high level, because you can be sure people would ask you that question. So here I'm just using the one from the tab, but you can put it manually here. And this will be to calculate the Gantt chart, because the Gantt chart here is using this value to calculate the amount of work that has been done to show it in a different color. Now, before I move away from this, I've created a bit of a conditional formatting that you might find debatable as far as colors is concerned, but okay, so what I have here is when something is completed, I put it a deep purple, and when it's above 0, I put a light purple. And then for the rest, I've done the same trick as I've done for the risk status, the status. The rack status is I've put the default value, I put it in blue. So here I'm using by the way, I'm using the colors, the new office colors. That's why there's a lot of purples. They have using more the purple this year. They call it, how do they call it? Plum. Okay. They're using the plum, the year of the plum at Microsoft. Now, here I'm doing a very basic formatting here just so it jumps out. This one hasn't started yet. What's going on? And we already have all these risks and issues. Really? Okay. Now the good news is there's only one this chart to be done. The maybe not so good news. It's a little bit tricky. It requires a little bit of patience. Sometimes it all works well, but sometimes not as well. I'm just going to do it step by step. Actually, I'm not going to do it all, but I'm just going to show you the basics. The first thing that you want to do is to just select this column here with a start. That's going to name the series start, and you do an insert, and you go here and you select the stacked bar. So this will give you the start. So the end of this bar gives you the start of the project. We will remove those later on, but that allows us to have the calendar here at the bottom. I'm really going to break it down. I'm just going to do the done here. I'm just going to take the done. We could select the 3 columns, but I'm really keen to show you step by step here. Here the done. So here, as you can see, this is what has been done and is being added after because it's a stacked bar. It's a stack bar, so in other words, you have a Gantt chart here already. You will see that we just need to get rid of this, and in order to get rid of this, actually I'm going to do it now, I just do put a no fill. It's still there. So for those of you who've never done that, I think it's quite a good way to create Gantt chart. Another things that we want is what has been done, because I want to show 2 different colors. So here, you put left to do, and I go here, and here I brutally again, oops, have the microphone in a way. So here, this will show you, so obviously, just to make it clear, here I have the light color here, light color, and for what is done, I have a deeper color. And here that shows you, that's already a pretty good looking chart. While I'm at it, I'm just going to show you the last bit here. So this is something that do I want a 50? Maybe 50 will be too big, but this is a dummy, quote unquote, series here that I will also remove, hide, I should say, more than remove. It will be to put the date here. So I want to use this to hold this date because Excel doesn't let me put something outside here, and I have something inside as well. Let's be reasonable here. So I'm creating this additional field, this additional series, just to enable me to put this date at the end. Okay, I'm just going to leave it for the time being. So here it's just a matter of playing with the labels. Actually, I've put the thing on the wrong. I wanted to have what has been done. So left to do. So when you have this, so this is the wrong way. No, this is the right way. What I've done is I have actually done the color strength on the other way, the wrong way around. Okay, so obviously this is very tiny, and after you have to play with this, and also you have to play with the gap as we've done for the money, for the budget here. You put the project description here on the add data label. So it's not going to give you much, but what you need to put instead is, you have several ways. Let me show you the brutal way. Is that here, if you had it done properly and you would have had the project, you would just put the category name here. But it's too late now to do this, so you do the value from cells, and here you select the description. And I think this is quite a good way to do this. I tend to do that more often than just using the category or the series name these days. So I remove the value, we don't need it, and here you have all the project description. So if you're paying attention, you will notice that like before, it's the wrong way. So we have to do like before. We have to click on this one on the axis options. That's it. Yes, categories in reverse order, please, and it's done. So it's pretty ugly at this stage, but you need to put them closer, and you need to play with all this, and then until you get this. Now we have. If I want to put the dates before and after, you just use this one here. You right click, add data labels, and you do the same trick. After you go change that data, format data labels, value from cells, and I will choose this part here. Now you can see that if you put inside base, that's it. So I need to remove the value. I need and it's there. So it's all a bit because we haven't formatted it yet. But if I remove the color here, green, if I remove this, I put no fill. It looks like it's attached to that bar, but it's not. It's just this dummy field here. And then you do the same thing with this one. The difference is, okay, you add data label. And actually the data label is actually correct because this is what we used. So can I do this? Probably not. And then you have to format it, format data labels, and you play around with this inside and that's it. Here the same, here format data labels, where do you want it? Inside end, nope, inside base, and that's it. So after, obviously, if you give it sufficient room, you should be able to do something like this by reducing the gap and the likes. So I think this is pretty good. I think you have a program board with a Gantt chart as a bonus. Okay, so here I've put a bit of a grayish background, so that's just the fine-tuning part here. The program board to stand out when you take all the white around into consideration. Okay, so all those we've seen, we've input all this, we've input all that. This is the length, done, left to do, old, and this is the other field that we had. Now there's plenty of ref here. That's because this is you have to choose. Do you want to use the tab or do you want to input it directly? So here I just could so it doesn't look too messy, I just could copy the values here, and assuming that we have input everything manually. So let me know what you think. I'm extremely biased, so obviously I like it, but and there's always room for improvement. So as a program board, you can go crazy. You can just also put the total of the budget, which is interesting. You could put that on top if you want to put it a bit more an obvious position, and the actuals, and estimate at completion, and then you can see it looks like we are still good on this, but some of the numbers are a little bit unrealistic.